Wait, I got it. There we go. We're ready to go.
Open your mouth, prepare your tongue, because you're about to get a taste.
I cannot believe we've gone 12 episodes without me being able to talk about Final Fantasy.
Well, I know the doll is bad, so I gotta think the Dusty Balloon is less bad.
I mean, if all life everywhere ends, what have I lost?
Facial hair as a theme is not something I ever would have chosen.
So yeah, that's the one that Rock is just sweaty the whole time.
He's got that good pointy Jafar beard.
I've got 3 pages of AMA citations.
This is the Debate This podcast.
Hello and welcome to Debate This, the show where no one is right, but someone is definitely wrong. In this podcast, we take time out of our busy adult lives to talk about spooky comics, spooky scary video games, and how none of us went to see the Joker movie. So now for something completely different.
Woo, yeah.
Yeah, we were super gonna go see that movie, and then the internet happened.
Yes, the internet did indeed happen.
I liked it better when it was called The King of Comedy, or Taxi Driver, or any of the other movies. It's the same as.
Yeah. Todd Phillips is a monster. So because Todd Phillips is a monster, our next stop on the Spooktacular Express, and I have a note for Matt to just add a horn sound here.
Whoop, whoop.
Perfect.
All right.
We're going to head back into the dubious catacombs of open source amateur horror fiction that is Creepypastas.
Yeah. Woo.
Thanks for that muted applause.
I'll put in real. Well, I was gonna put in real applause.
No, we got it.
Don't give him that.
So those of you just joining us, last year we started for our inaugural Spooktacular Express. We talked about a rumor where Pokemon killed children.
Rumor.
We talked about we talked about a story about a copy of a Majora's Mask haunted by a boy that drowned. We talked about a Pokemon hack where you murder everybody in the game and then your one Pokemon named Ghost kills you. Spoilers. And finally, Petscop. The game's so horrifying, all you really need to do is refer to it by name.
Hey, if you were curious, the finale of Petscop just posted last week.
Shut the front door.
Way.
Yeah.
Why are we not talking about that?
Because I don't have time. I've spent too much time looking at Five Nights at Freddy's videos. I can't do Petscop 2.
Matt's already seen the cosmic truth. He can't do anymore.
Maybe I'll go catch it and we'll do like a quick update before the end of the month.
Yeah.
There we go.
Well, until we do that, we've got a couple more stories. We scoured the internet to bring you 2 more of the internet's best in video game ghost stories. So Matt, why don't you take it away?
Yeah, I'd love to. I am going to talk about the story known as Misfortune.gb. What's interesting about this creepypasta is this is a glitch that you all very well may have. So did any of you guys have, well, let me start with this. Did any of you guys have a Game Boy Color?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Did any of you guys still have the cartridge for one of these 5 games? Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening, Pokemon Red, Spud's Adventure, Poochie Carrot, and Atelier Marie.
The only one I had was Poochie
I
Carrot.
have heard of 2 of those games.
I sold all of my Poochie's Carrot cartridges.
No, I had Red and Link's Awakening. I can pull this off.
I just said red, yeah.
Yeah. Also, questionably Pokemon Yellow. But those 5 cartridges, parentheses, maybe 6 cartridges for Pokemon Yellow, are supposed to be the cartridges that contain the game.
The Infinity Stones.
I was going to say the game Misfortune.gb, but the Infinity Stones is better, so we'll go with that headcanon. Anyway, Misfortune is an obscure game for the original Game Boy. Since no known hard copies or ROMs exist, all information about the game is derived from personal accounts and scant assemblage of screenshots. The game does not contain any credits, and whoever created it is still unknown to this day. The few people who have experienced it consider it to be one of the scariest video games ever made, and that line is, I think, copy-pasted from every creepypasta about a video game ever.
We're gonna need a source citation there.
Yeah, right. Given its age and cult following among rare horror game enthusiasts, it's entirely possible that authors of widely known creepypastas such as Sonic.exe and Lavender Town Syndrome drew inspiration from Misfortune. Also, Sonic.exe is a creepypasta that I did not find today.
Wild.
Is it really?
It's wild. It's not good. It's just
but it is insane.
yeah, as all Sonic things are wanting to do, what makes these creepypastas so good is the amount of fan content that's based on them.
Yeah.
You know, the sources are just fine on their own, but the images and the hacks that people make, and the Sonic.exe one probably has one of the biggest followings, short of Ben Drowned.
I'll have to find that and read that because I've never read Sonic.exe, and it's super off-brand for this podcast to avoid an opportunity to talk about Sonic in this way. Anyway, back to Misfortune. Let's talk about the story and the concept of this game. The player controls what appears to be a young boy in a strange gothic building. After brief exploration, the player is confronted by a malevolent being. Despite the character never identifying itself, some people, citing notable similarities, claim that it may be a representation of Baphomet, Beelzebub, or even the devil. Also, I think all three of those things are pretty much the same thing. Creepypasta word expansion.
Yes.
Someone will tell us why they're not.
Yeah.
Because they're not, but they are.
Someone will, but that someone isn't me.
I think Baphomet is not Satan, but
Baphomet and
Beelzebub is.
I thought they both were lesser demons.
Baphomet is a deity that the Knights Templar were accused of worshiping. I don't know.
I think Beelzebub's a lesser demon or something. Go on, Matt. It doesn't matter.
Man, those were all words. Anyway, upon meeting the mysterious creature, a dialogue box will appear with the text, "I exist within the very fabric of reality. Do you want to challenge me?" This is followed by a yes or no choice. Cool. Should the player choose yes, the being replies, "Then let's begin."
If you choose no and wait half an hour, you get the Far Cry 4 ending. And
yeah, there it is.
The guy just quits.
Yeah.
I was going to say, this just sounds like the end of a Final Fantasy game.
Actually, I think if you choose no, you get a free pizza from Pizza Hut.
Oh man.
Yeah. So, gameplay of this glitch ROM hack thing. The player is then transported to a series of maze-like rooms, each filled with pit drops, locked doors, keys, and traps. The objective for the player is to progress through each room by either reaching the stairs to the next level or solving another kind of puzzle. This can include answering riddles or choosing correct doors or pathways. The most well-known example is in a level where 4 small cabins are shown on screen, and a dialogue box will appear that reads, "Choose wrong and misfortune will befall your loved ones. Are you ready to play?"
Good.
Should the player ever make a mistake throughout the game, the screen will cut to black before showing a more detailed image of the demon along with the dialogue box reading, "I am God here," in what appears to be blood-styled writing.
So that escalated.
If you were waiting for the turn, there it is.
I love this picture that you've put in our chat, and we'll make sure that we can upload it too when we upload the episode. But it's so adorable.
Right?
It's like a cute little Bulbasaur Pigman.
There's a little chibi devil.
Ugh. Yeah, a little chibi devil. I love it.
Yeah, so that is a screenshot, allegedly from Misfortune.
That little chibi devil exists within reality, Andrew, and is God.
I hope so.
Also is God here. So there are some alleged side effects to this game because this is a creepypasta. Rumors pertaining to the game's alleged harmful side effects began to surface on the internet around the late 1990s. Players claim to have begun experiencing ongoing depression and dread shortly after losing and seeing the game over screen. Once prominent members of online forums who told such claims are thought to have died or disappeared when they suddenly became inactive without warning. Heated discussions soon dominated these forums for some time, but the mystery never seemed to be getting any closer to being solved. Some wrote the whole thing off as a tasteless practical joke. Others believe that viewing the image of the evil character after losing the game can really cause the player to experience misfortune as the game's antagonist promised. Soon people began to speculate that the eerie soundtrack of the game was the cause. Sorry, I had to take a burp break. I'm drinking a Natter Day.
Natter Day. Crisp, refreshing Natter Day.
We'll make that to cue to put in some really spooky music to overdo that.
Yes. Natter Day or nothing. So, let's talk about the soundtrack. The music in the game consisted of a deep, buzzy tones, off-key melodies. That's not a sentence. The music in the game consisted of deep, buzzy tones, off-key melodies. Thank you.
There's got to be a
Creepypasta.
comma in there somewhere.
Oh, there are no less than 2 commas.
There are. I'm on the same wiki you are, I think, Matt. And yeah, that's just a bad typo. There's
Yeah.
an and that belongs in there.
Right. The game had a remarkably unsettling soundtrack, despite composition being limited to the 8-bit Game Boy sound bank. The game over screen had especially erratic, almost nauseating music with a very high frequency that accompanied it. Rumor has it that this very track could somehow influence moods and thought patterns. Of all the tracks in this game, only the theme that players... Whoa. Of all the tracks in the game, only the theme that plays when first meeting the demonic entity can be found on the internet today.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can we get a copy of that? Let's place that in there.
Yeah, if your sound editor does his job, it'll be playing behind Matt's whole monologue here. So
Perfect.
Yeah. So availability. Searching for playable ROMs or cartridges online is futile because none exist. In fact, most of those resistance is futile. In fact, most of those who have played it directly hadn't sought out looking for it, but rather stumbled upon it by accident. According to first-hand accounts, certain copies of various Game Boy titles contain Misfortune in its entirety. The means for accessing it through these games vary, but typically involve exploiting glitches or using cheating devices. Although some had detailed what they thought done... Whoa, good lord. Although some had detailed what they had done to trigger Misfortune to start, attempts by others using the same methods had always failed. Another common observation was that many of the sprites in Misfortune had been copied from its host games. Misfortune is known to be integrated into the following, the 5 cartridges I listed earlier: Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening, Pokemon Red, Spud's Adventure, Poochie Carrot, and Atelier Marie, which is apparently a Japan-only game. And
What a weird smattering of games.
I gotta tell you, Matt, when you said Poochie Carrot earlier, I
not
didn't
how
expect.
I imagined it.
Yeah,
being
this was not
spelled.
how I expected either word spelled.
yeah, right?
So much so, I'm like doubting you're pronouncing it right.
I don't know that I am, to be
Go on.
completely honest with you.
Pookie Carrot.
Well, I know the second word is carrot, because that's how gold is measured and such, but Pookie,
The Japanese is, it might be Pookie Corrado.
Look at Matt, the gold expert.
Yeah, sorry. Welcome back to Talking Tungsten with Todd Thomas.
I remember that.
So let me get into the closing thoughts of this wiki article. For this section, I'm going to be speaking to you a lot less impartially and a lot more personally. It's important you read this part. Not me. This is the person writing the wiki.
We got it, bud.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just wanted to clarify. Now, is the game really cursed? Does a specter really bide within and snare the innocent in its deadly game? Who knows? What I do know is that the game definitely exists. I also know what it can do. I've never played it myself, you see, but I knew someone who did. A good friend of mine, actually. We were closer than brothers, and we told each other everything. He was the most enthusiastic, outgoing guy I ever met, and like me, he was really into video games.
Uh-oh.
Sure enough, one day he told me that he had found a spooky new side game hidden in Pokemon. He showed it to me, and even back then it gave me an odd feeling. Though, to be fair, I was easily scared.
Oh, this is such a creepypasta.
Yeah.
The writing is just so creepypasta. Go on, Matt.
I think that creepypastas must have like a quota on commas, because only in creepypastas do I see such excessive comma usage.
Have you never submitted your own creepypasta, Matt? When you go to submit it, it counts, and it's like you don't have enough commas. You need at least 12 more commas in this to submit
It
to
says,
creepypasta.
don't worry,
Yeah.
we inputted 25% more commas for you. We got it.
You have to write it as though you are sharing lore with yelling at other nerds on a message board. That's the whole purpose.
That's accurate.
Got it. Soon after, he started talking less and less. Later, he'd either ignore my calls or tell me he was sick or busy when I invited him out. He became something of a recluse. I did still sometimes get to see him at high school, but he rarely spoke and snapped at me when I pried too much over why he was acting that way. About a month later, before he got off the train after school, he said goodbye for the first time in weeks. I'll never forget the look he gave me that day. He was the macho, nothing gets to me type of guy, and he always masked his emotions really well. But now he had a face filled with grief, like he was about to cry. He made me promise him one thing before he left, that I never play that game, and that was the last time we spoke. The next morning, they found his scratched and bloodied corpse hanging from his disassembled weight machine.
Okay. What a turn!
Oh boy.
All right.
0 to 60.
Scratched and bloodied corpse from his disassembled weight machine. The police concluded that he managed to lift 220 pounds of weights over his head with the cord still attached, looped it around his neck, and released it over the other side of the machine, causing his strangulation as the weight on the other side yanked him upward.
Holy shit.
Lord.
The most horrible detail was that he was found with his hands clutching the inside of the makeshift noose as if he were trying to tug it loose. That was it. The case was closed.
What? Wait.
Oh, okay.
I don't think that detective work is very good.
The implication is that he didn't commit suicide, but the game demon did this to him, and he tried to stop it. Is that what this?
I think that's what it's implying.
This nameless storyteller is saying. Okay,
Sounds right.
Personally, I don't believe that's what happened.
Let's get that conjecture.
If you were a collector, or perhaps just heard the legend and want to experience the game for yourself, you should reconsider. Even if you deny the existence of demons and curses, the misfortune that will befall you is very real. You have been warned.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So that is the creepypasta of Misfortune.gb. And interestingly enough, I didn't just sit here and read the wiki about Misfortune.gb to you. This wiki page is the creepypasta itself. The creepypasta is intentionally written as a wiki page. And it's sort of, I think, does a really good job of blurring the lines of how much of this is real, how much of this is fake. Mm-hmm. I was curious, so I just straight up Googled, is Misfortune.gb real? Which took me to WTF has happened to games.blogspot.com, a post from Saturday, June 15th of 2013. Misfortune.gb is real. How to find it with Pokemon Yellow.
Yeah. But that's what's fun. That's one of the most fun things about these stories, I think, is the fact that it kind of evokes the Mew truck kind of mentality, right? Which is
the early video game, pre or very early internet era, where everything was
no, this is real. This is totally real.
Yeah.
You can do this. I have a screenshot. You know?
Yeah.
All you have to do is use push on the truck and muse under that. Here's a screenshot of it.
Yeah.
Strength.
Yeah.
Strength. Go right, nerd. Okay.
Come on. Well, and it's interesting too, because you can go on YouTube and there's Misfortune.gb gameplay and all sorts of screenshots. I'll read a little bit of this Blogspot article because I think it's interesting. I'm going to begin with a little history here. Just over a year ago, I was reading through some online creepypastas. I always search the internet for these stories because I'm very into discovering new, weird, and wonderful things hidden in some of our favorite titles out there. For the most part, the stories I read were badly written and completely made up. However, one in particular caught my eye, Misfortune.gb. This was an article claiming that inside some of our classic, most cherished Game Boy games from the past, there was another game hidden somewhere in the cartridges. This was mentioned on some old blogs that dated back over 8 years ago, and I was intrigued, having nothing better to do with my life except play games and write articles on games I've played. I decided to have a little search for this hidden game to see if it was legit. As it turned out, it was. I'm going to give a step-by-step guide on how I discovered this so the reader... Jesus, I can't read. I'm going to give a step-by-step guide on how I discovered this so the readers of this article can give it a try too. But first, there are some important things I will mention right now. Firstly, Misfortune.gb is said to be hidden in Pokemon Red, Link's Awakening, Atelier Marie, and Spud's Adventure. I will tell you right now that I've never found Misfortune.gb in any of those, and believe me, I tried a lot. I don't know if these games have it really well hidden and I missed an important sequence or something, or if it was a mistake. I believe it probably is in those games somewhere, but I myself had no luck with it. My luck came with Pokemon Yellow. Secondly, upon finding Misfortune.gb, I only went a few rooms, then quit the emulator. There are rumors that playing the game is dangerous if you lose at it, and being superstitious, I decided against taking that risk. Interestingly enough, apparently Blogspot has a cap on how many commas you can use. So I'm sorry, I can't tell you how the game ends if you get through it, because I have no idea, but hopefully this guide will help you access it so you can see for yourselves. Finally, and this is very important, accessing Misfortune.gb from Pokemon Yellow is not easy. I got it to work only twice and have not been able to do it again since. However, the times I did manage to do it, I followed the sequence which I've written down here. It seems to have maybe a 1 in 40 chance of actually warping you to Misfortune.gb if you follow these steps. I'm not sure why it only works sometimes. My thoughts are perhaps I'm missing a valuable detail on most playthroughs, which other times I've completed, allowing it to work properly. Good lord. Like I said, I have nothing better to do than play games and write articles on them, which is why I must have spent months playing over and over through Pokemon Yellow and Red looking for this. Anyway, that's all I have to say about that, and perhaps you'll have better luck with it. Please note that what I've written down here and exactly what I did to access the game, and I'm not entirely sure which parts are important and must be done and which parts are unimportant, so I'm just giving you it all. And then it goes through a whole shitload of directions. At the end, it says that his total playtime before Misfortune launched was 3.39 hours, and then it's signed by some guy named Dan. So,
Thanks, Dan.
Yep, thanks, Dan.
Let's get Dan on the podcast.
No, I don't want Dan on the podcast, because my hot take is, if you're going to write a whole article about like finding this hidden haunted game and don't even have the courage to play through the game because you're
play more than an hour of it.
superstitious.
Yeah, right.
Your bloodline is weak, and your ancestors will forget you.
Your bloodline is weak.
You also have the wrong priorities, because you spent way
Exactly.
more time. You've spent way more time investigating and writing about it and putting it out into the world than just playing it. You monster.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right, Dan sucks. He's
What
not
a
on the
waste of an
podcast.
article, Dan.
Get out of here, Dan.
I just want to I guess for my closing thoughts, agree with you, Andrew. I think it is really cool and fun how Creepypastas spin all of this fan involvement and really coattail like this. I mean, I remember searching for things in Pokemon games and trying to find things that weren't there and stuff like that. So it's always interesting when you can find other articles that have this sort of stuff written into it. The other thing that I think is really interesting is that this creepypasta, so that Dan's article came out in 2013, and he said that this creepypasta surfaced on the internet 8 years before that, which would mean it's been almost 15 full years since Misfortune.gb showed up on the internet.
Wow.
And this is all about effectively rooting through game code and finding backdoors and, creating this creepy understory of our favorite games by backdooring your way through glitches. And two debate this weeks from now, not 2 real world weeks, but 2 debate this weeks from now, we will release our Five Nights at Freddy's lore flavor text, which talks excessively about finding
Easter eggs through rooting through the code.
Yeah, so I just think it's interesting that 15 years ago this secret hidden glitch game was an idea on the internet, and now 15 years later it is being made into games, and games revolving entirely around that idea to create the horror that we created in our own minds. Every idea you have just leads to the future, something existential.
What I love about, and this is dumb, and the idea that there's a whole other game hidden on Game Boy cartridges when they couldn't even fit all of Pokemon Red on its own game cartridge, let alone a whole other game. like Pokemon Red and Blue are so buggy because it couldn't fit on the game, and there's no way there's
Right.
like a
Like another
demonic
game.
haunted game hidden on that cartridge because
Yeah.
the Pokemon Red itself didn't fit on that cartridge. That's all.
That's really funny.
Todd, do you have any wrap up hot takes on Misfortune.gb?
If you need the ability strength to move the truck to find Mew. And I think
Thanks,
it's
Todd.
important that you all know that.
Got it. Thanks,
Thank you, Todd.
Thanks, Todd.
I was concerned that you thought it was Push.
Well, that was my favorite movie from the early 2000s, so I wanted to talk about it.
Just that quality content. All right, we're gonna take a quick break, and then we come back. We are gonna talk about a particular Mario creepypasta, specifically titled Mario. So we'll be right back. Hey everybody, Andrew and Kyle here. Want to remind you that we are doing an all-day marathon stream for Extra Life on November 2nd.
We're going to be playing games like Untitled Goose Game, Super Mario RPG, Marvel Ultimate Alliance. I might play some auto chess or some Pokemon or something.
Hell yeah.
We'll see.
I'm ready for that auto chess content.
We'll see what happens that day.
One of us may very well be a very horrible goose.
Oh, we're all going to be very horrible geese.
We're going to be being horrible geese together for Extra Life, an awesome charity organization that benefits the Children's Miracle Network. And since we are located in Columbus, all of the proceeds that we do, all the donations that we accept, will go to Nationwide Children's Hospital here in Columbus, Ohio. Which would be pretty great.
Yeah, we're very excited. Once again, Andrew, when are we doing that? How long are we doing it for?
That's a great question, Kyle. It's going to be Saturday, November 2nd. Right now, we're thinking 8 a.m. to 8 a.m., Saturday to Sunday. And you can see it on twitch.tv/debatethiscast. Again, that's twitch.tv/debatethiscast.
Again, we're going to be doing a 24-hour stream, so there'll be plenty of time for you to check in. We look forward to seeing you.
Three, two, one. All right, welcome back. Oh,
Leave it in. We're leaving it in.
It's just Todd's just gonna like singularly clap the rest of the episode like at random intervals.
all right.
Wait, I got it.
We'll mute Todd's channel.
Wait, I got it. There we go.
Hey,
We're-
Was
now
that
we're
worth
ready to
it?
All right, let's talk about Mario.
go. Okay, we're
All
done.
right.
Now I'm done.
Let's talk about Mario creepypastas. There are a lot of Mario creepypastas.
Are
There are
there?
a lot of bad Mario creepypastas out there. There are a lot of okay Mario creepypastas out there. I think this one titled just Mario.
You started that like a kid giving an essay in 5th grade who didn't
You
know
already
what they
made
were
that joke.
saying.
You already made that
yeah,
joke.
well,
last
you
time.
did it again.
This particular creepypasta. What? Go ahead.
The rest of the rest of this episode is just Andrew like there are long creepypastas about Mario. There are short creepypastas about Mario.
There's an endless number of Mario creepypastas. There could be 2 or 3 or 4
wait.
or 5 maybe.
We good?
Go on. Go on.
I got it out of my
We're done,
system.
we're
I'm
done
good.
making
All right.
fun of you.
Dunking
All
on Andrew. It's a podcast within a podcast.
Speaking of amateur content, we've got this particular creepypasta, which is just called Mario, which I happen to think this is a pretty fun one. It's a little wordy, but I think the writing is good enough that I'm just going to read it straight. So the setup here is this is a hack of Super Mario World, which I imagine you all know. Yes?
Yep.
Yes? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the user who posted it actually ran, I don't know if it's still active, a Super Mario World like ROM hack site, basically. And the story was he was posting it as, hey, I found this new hack. Like, this is a thing that I do is look for Super Mario World ROMs, which, like, for those of you that don't know, Super Mario World ROMs are very, very common and very prolific. If you've ever heard the term Kaizo Mario, that's where that comes from, that community. So, like, people used to make these, like, really, I mean, they still do, but now that Mario Maker exists, They make these really hard versions of Super Mario World, and there's tons of ROM hacks for it. A lot of those old Super Nintendo games are easily, hackable.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so that's kind of the setup. So we've got Adam here as our storyteller. He's talking about finding this particular ROM hack. Get some spooky Mario music, Kyle. I'll assume that's a yes.
Done. It's going. Don't you hear it?
I do hear it. So it all happened on tonight of all nights. I was bored, obviously contemplating what I thought I could do to waste time as I chatted with the people in #SMWC. We had good times and shared a few laughs together. Out of boredom, I decided to patrol the hacks waiting to be moderated section. Seems that we had quite a bit. 33 if I recall correctly. The first few hacks I saw when I sorted them by date were a couple really horrible ones with bad screenshots to boot. Naturally, these hacks... Ooh, that's a bad sentence. Naturally showed these hacks to the Centralites currently on SMWC. We were laughing at how bad some of them were, but then I got a hack called Mario. Just Mario. All caps. The description seemed quite odd, as if some Japanese hacker was trying to translate the original plot of Mario World into English and not doing very well. I showed this to my friend, and he started laughing at the description. It was a different time. It reads as follows. As you play the role of Super Mario Plumber, verify that you are beautiful. Purun Setsuro, again, Bowser kidnapped the evil king. It is your job to save her. This hack includes 6 levels of very long.
Wait, hold on. You breezed through that Japanese
was pretty
word
impressive.
like way easier than I breezed through Poochie Carrot.
Two things. One, I practiced that. 2, that is definitely not how you say that.
Wait,
Okay,
do it
well-
again.
I couldn't.
You were confident enough that I was also convinced.
That's kind of my MO. Obviously, this particular person dismissed this as someone just trying to act Japanese or release a crappy hack or whatever. Doesn't really matter. Anyway, curiosity got the best of me. I decided to download the hack, not knowing what I was in for, since the single screenshot of the hack was just the title screen, but with nothing but the letters Mario from Super Mario World's title. Just literally just Mario, the words Mario, and Mario on a blank platform. I thought it was a little odd how there were no dates or anything, as hackers usually place their names and dates on the titles to mark where the project was started. So when I opened the hack, I was greeted by 2 files. One called 3007014, a simple .txt file about 27 kilobytes in size, and the IPS file simply named Mario. I do not know what an IPS file is. Do not ask.
Nope.
That was me. That was editorializing. All right, back in the character. For some odd reasons, I wanted to see what the author of the hack had to say. But when I opened the hack in Notepad, there was nothing but indistinguishable symbols and letters and punctuation, sort of like when you open a ROM in a text editor. Seems the author just completely copied his ROM to .text form, though I could be wrong. Taking a look, just a bunch of gibberish. I did find a piece of English there. There's some unintelligible characters, and then it says, find me, find me, find me, find me, find me, find me, yeah. So just a lot of gibberish. To be honest, I didn't know what to make of this, and I thought it was simply to waste my time by making me find some text in a gibberish file that no one would be able to make sense of. So I decided, because my interest was growing, I would start looking through my horribly disorganized download folder for a copy of a clean ROM, which I had downloaded a great deal of time before the events of tonight unfolded. That's a lot of words. So then I proceeded. One of the things about these creepypastas is like, it's clearly like these are amateur writers, and again, like I'm not gonna sit here and dunk on people who want to write for fun. Like that's great. Put things in the world. That's amazing.
But they don't have
it's
editors.
like, yeah, I mean, it's a clear lack of training, lack of polish, right? It's like that. It's like that writing in a conversational style, because
Right.
like we use a lot of, in conversations we use a lot of dead ends and fragmented sentences and stuff like that. So it's just challenging when you're, it's not how we write. Anyway, back in. I proceeded to move the ROM and the patcher to the folder with the hack. I patched the ROM, not knowing what to expect next, and I quickly hurried to drag it to ZSNES to play what I thought was a terrible form of a ROM image. I noticed on boot up that the author had taken the time to change the header of the hack. Instead of the usual Super Mario World you normally see, it just had the letters Mario. So as the title screen loaded, exactly like it would with Mario World, except it just had Mario on the title. Something else grabbed my interest. Mario's normal, bright colored, happy palette seemed dull. What was once violet like red was now had a gray tinge with a slight red tint to it. I'm fairly sure his pants were also looking much grayer than normal. Regardless, I felt it just seemed something was off. The palette wasn't bad. It was just, so the hack was empty. Like something had happened. I pressed start, selected a new file, just like a million times before. I saw the intro screen. Now the intro screen normally describes the plot. It says, welcome, you have to get Bowser, blah, blah, blah. It's just the one story but you get in Mario World. But this one was a little different. This one read as follows. Welcome. This is Dinosaur Land. In this strange land, we find that Princess Toadstool is missing again. Looks like Mario is at it again. What? It just says, what the? This wasn't the original message from Super Mario World. Normally, I wouldn't think anything of this, seeing how nearly 2 years of looking at these hacks, I've seen many thousands of different intro messages, but this one really stuck out. At this point, I definitely knew there was something odd. I pressed the start button to go to the overworld to begin my journey. And upon entering the overworld, everything seemed normal. Same old level paths, same old music, but the level names were different. Instead of Yoshi's house, it was now just simply Yoshi's. The house part was gone. Thought this was strange, and I began to lose hope in the hack because it seemed like barely had anything had changed at all. But I was hoping to see something new. And unluckily for me, I got my wish.
Bum, bum,
Dun, dun, dun. We all have that locked and loaded.
Yeah.
Yep. So the first thing you do when you open Mario World, you go to Yoshi's house, and there's just like the little dialogue box that gives you your tutorial. So he did that. In this version, it just has the dialogue box, just a bunch of ones and zeros. Apparently, it says Notepad in binary, and it's signed Yoshi. So at this point, I was on the IRC telling everyone about how the hack was starting to weird me out, which in itself yielded some sarcastic responses. Anyway, after this interest level in the hack skyrocketed, and along with my paranoia, oh boy, was I in for a fun surprise. Oh, there's a lot of editorializing here.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So I'm gonna kind of paraphrase this because this is a lot as I'm reading. So basically, the first level kind of goes through. It's basically blank. So it's the first Mario level, like everybody has seen it. It's the blue sky with the little dragons that you can kind of bunk down into an accordion. But all the enemies are gone. So he's just running through. There's just a blank background. The only thing that's there is some of the platforms and the big dragon coins, the 5 in every level you collect. But he can't get them. It was just Mario's just going right past them. And he keeps saying, he feels like why is this empty? Why is this empty? Did Mario do something? Did something happen? Like what's the story here? So he keeps going down and hits another message box. And the message box says, point of advice, I hate you. Just very good. And there's a couple more of these message boxes, and I think they're all excellent. So I'm gonna hop back in. Now I thought things were starting to get the vibe that the author was a twisted and warped individual, and that I was right about Mario having done something. At this point, I was basically rushing to get to the end of the level, so I just scurried by, and then I came across another message box. However, this one was just a blank box with point of advice at the top with nothing else in it. I quickly disregarded it and head off further to the right, hoping to free myself of the hell that was once level 105. So there's a couple other things that happen here. There's a fire flower in a block that he can't reach. Like normally there's some blocks that you jump to get to it, but he couldn't get it, so he just kept moving on, beat the level. Now, normally with Mario World, the next thing you can go left and go to the Yellow Switch Palace, which everybody does. So of course he does that as well. Nothing really changed here, just a couple name changes. But when you get up to the hill in Yellow Switch Palace, you can kind of, for the first time in the game, you can see the rest of the world. Because like when you start the game, all you see is the little Yoshi's Island world, but then you see the rest of the map, or at least like the next couple places. But there's nothing there, just a vast ocean. So all that exists is the little Yoshi's Island place. So that's interesting. So he goes back down to level 2, which is Yoshi's Island 2. But this time it's just named Yoshi's House, which is the name of the original place.
Yeah, the first
Again, interesting.
level you stop at. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So normally this is where you get Yoshi for the first time, and this is your big tutorial in Mario World. That you have Yoshi, you have this other, list of verbs or whatever. This is the really famous one where you have the row of red Koopas that you can kind of play. You get a free 1-up or a free bunch of 1-ups when you hit all the Koopas. If you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he enters in the world. And the level looks about the same. It's got the forest background, but everything's kind of like a sickly gray blue color. I think it uses the texture from the Ghost Forest, and then the ground is just like a green texture, like a pea green. He ignores the Trail of Koopas and he goes to the first Yoshi block. So you get Yoshi, and then usually Yoshi says something. Again, that's your little intro to Yoshi. But this time Yoshi says, "Hooray! Thank you for rescuing me. My name is Yoshi. On my way to rescue my friends, Mario trapped me in that egg."
That's not canon.
That's not how that works.
That's interesting.
It's not normal. Not
Yeah.
what Yoshi normally says, for sure.
Yeah. So he continues on. He hops on Yoshi and he goes through the level. And again, there are a couple enemies in this one, but it's still pretty devoid of bad guys. It's just kind of him just running horizontally. And then he got it, and then we have a new message box. He hits it, and it says at the top, it says, "But," there's a couple hard returns. "Is there anything I can do to change your mind?"
Weird. About
What the fuck? What the hell did this even mean? I thought to myself. Change my mind? Why would I change my mind about it? What would I change my mind about anyway? Was this about Mario or whatever he did, or about how people were trying to convince him to stop? Was Yoshi talking to me through message boxes? Or is it about me? About me playing the hack, asking me as if the hack was trying to talk to me through message boxes. Either way, whether it was for more backstory, what Mario had done, or if it was questioning my decision to keep going, I decided to keep progressing further because this is a creepypasta and we need to get to the end.
And that's what we do here.
Yes.
So we get another cryptic voice box that says, "Point of advice, this is the selfish way out." Selfish way out? Was he calling me selfish to continuing to play the hack despite the warnings? And Mario made some sort of selfish decision that only benefited him? There's a lot of conjecture here.
There's a lot of conjecture.
Yeah, so a lot of questions are still being asked. There's a point that he talks about hitting a vine where all the like happy smiley clouds are gone and he feels really sad. It's fine. So we're gonna move on. The next level is Yoshi's Island 3, which now reads as Yoshi's Island 7. Now, normally this is the one with all the water, and there's like a couple platforms that you're hopping, and there you got like the dolphins and whatever. There's no water in this one, so this is just empty, just vast expanse. And while he's going through, he can make the first jump with Yoshi. The second jump, he has to abandon Yoshi to get the extra, the suicide lift, right?
Yep.
And then the last one, it's just too far. And he shoots a little fireball, and you can see there's actually ground, like it's bouncing on the ground. So he's just walking in clear ground, and then the level just kind of ends, basically. So now we get to the next level, which is right before the castle. This next level is it opens with a blank background. We're gonna see. As I entered, I was welcomed by a solid black background and a blue and gray colored floor. This place seemed frozen, lifeless, and barren. There's nothing in the level, save for the goal point. Just a clear stretch of land with nothing else at all. I quickly lost interest and finished the level. This is what seemed like the most empty and creepy level in the game. Though as you'll read on, it gets far worse.
I was going to say, it probably gets worse if I know anything about Creepypasta.
So with that level beaten, a new path opens up. Yoshi's Island 4 is now just called Leave Now.
Oh.
Just Leave
Oh.
Now.
This guy is not.
Yeah.
There's a lot of warnings. This guy would not do well in a horror movie.
Nope.
Um,
Ignoring
yeah.
some red flags.
So we get our final message box before the castle level. It just says you get if you cut at the end. If you collect, you can.
Oh.
Yep.
Very clear.
They don't think
Great.
it'd be like it is, but it do.
But it do. So now we have unlocked Iggy's castle. Iggy's Castle, of course, that's your final boss for the first world. It's just a fun little castle romp. It usually says number 1 Iggy's Castle. This time it says number 1 go back. I sure did feel welcome here. Now, my favorite part of this creepypasta is when he actually puts in brackets sarcasm. Yeah, just to be super clear. So thank you for that editor's note.
That's the SpongeBob meme, like alternating capital lowercase letters way to. Before that, that's how you had to denote sarcasm.
It's good stage direction, and I appreciate it for what it is. So, the castle. I mean, it looks like it's a castle-house castle. But this one is a little different. It uses some of the same textures from the castles, but it reuses the bubbly like lava tar. Like it's the lava color, the lava texture, but it's colored like grayish blue, and it's at the top of the level instead of at the bottom. So it's really weird and unsettling.
Ooh.
And there's just like it's just bare like floor. Endless floor and a couple goalposts and just a shit ton of message boxes. And all the message boxes are just like, it's just cut, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste. So he hits the first one and it says, "Don't you think you've caused enough trouble?"
Oh.
Good.
Waving red flags red flags like a used car dealership.
He keeps hitting them, and it's usually it's just the same message over and over and over again. So I'm going to read this little passage here. "There was a door, in which I entered. I was welcomed by nothing but a small section of land. And at that, the level was auto-scrolling, so I figured that this must be the end, that the author wanted me to jump in the pit and commit suicide or something, thus ending my journey. I was wrong. The auto-scroll pushed me over the ledge, and I was still walking, unfortunately. The whole level was nothing but a long stretch of invisible land to another small piece of land just big enough for a boss door to fit. The auto-scrolls came to a stop, and I prepared for the worst. I gathered my composure, swallowed some of the spit in my mouth, and took a deep breath. I entered."
Really painting that picture.
That's some good editorial details.
I love it. Of course, nothing but a normal Iggy boss. I felt cheated in a way, though I was happy to think it was finally over. I defeated Iggy with 2 jumps effortlessly, which was actually the quickest I'd ever beaten him before. After he fell in the lava, the course clear message popped up as usual, and there's a little mini cutscene where Mario comes out. He pulls a little cartoon plunger, and the castle is destroyed. And we don't talk about how all the inhabitants are just blown to smithereens, but it's totally fine because it's Mario. Yay! Now, instead of the usual message, I was shown something disturbing and vastly different, like a profile for the scene of a crime. It is as follows. Victim number 1. Eyeballs were unable to be found. The victim was found lying on her carpet. Causes of death unknown. Handmark with unidentifiable fingerprints were found all over the corpse.
Oh.
Okay. That's not what that screen usually says.
This is familiar. Have I read this before? Go on.
Maybe you
Sorry.
So we more conjecture. Who is this person? Why are we talking about a crime? Was this Princess Toadstool? Was this Mario's doing? Was this what the author was trying to tell me? Anyway, moving on. Now, normally, again, you would go to Donut Plains, which is the next world. You go to Donut Plains 1. But instead of going to Donut Plains 1, you just go into this vast expanse. It's just an endless sea. And you see a little message that says, "There's no way out of here." Or actually, sorry. He accessed Donut Plains 1, which is the last level you could go. It's like a little bridge to nowhere. And you see the little level icon, and then he comes into Donut Plains 1, and then there's just a little black box text that says, "There's no way out of here. Fly away." I found it quite strange that both message boxes were contradicting each other. One was telling me that there was no way out of this accursed hell, and the other was telling me that if I could fly away, I could be free. Though I saw no feather or enemies to grab one. Was this telling me I could either rise up and go to heaven or stay in hell forever, wallowing in despair?
Oh, that's quite a conjecture there.
It's a big stretch saying that it says if you fly away, it'll be free.
We've got a real
It just says
philosopher on the
fly
hands.
away. This guy.
He starts running because there's no cape to fly or anything. But just like before, there was invisible floor until he kind of gets stuck and then hits a wall. And there's really nothing else he can do. All of a sudden, he hears a pipe sound, and Mario goes down a pipe. I was then taken to a level with a black background, stone blocks for ground, and a small door. I was then immediately given a mushroom to prevent me from entering it. So I proceed further to see if there's some Mario Maker shit here.
This is some Mario Maker shit, yeah.
Yeah. So I proceed further to see if there's anything else in the level. I found that the room was nothing but a long stretch of concrete blocks and doors that were too small for me to enter because of the mushroom. And it's obvious that the author didn't want me going through any of them, or I wouldn't have gotten the mushroom in the first place. As I proceeded, I found myself at a dead end. Since there was nothing left for me to look at, I tried to go right again, and it worked. I went through the brick wall. It acted like a pipe, and I did a little pipe animation that looked like I was going into the darkness. I was then taken to a small room with what seemed like a pit and a wall. I jumped down the pit, seeing as there was no other option, though I found that the bottom of the pit was solid. I tried pressing down in a bunch of areas. It worked before, until I came across a pipe. Mario slowly did the pipe transition downwards off the screen. Expecting another level, I waited, but there was no more. Just a black screen. I was unable to continue, unable to pause, unable to exit the level or move. There was nothing. Nothing at all. This was the video game representation of death. A crash. Mario had died.
Oh. All right.
There's that dramatic creepypasta writing.
Got it.
That's anticlimactic.
Well, after playing, I think I finally understand what was happening.
Hey, let's hear it.
I believe Mario was atoning for his actions.
There it is.
Eventually being plummeted into a hell that looked exactly like the Yoshi's Island, where he was lost to the grip of death forever. I was finally done playing, and quite relieved at that. The nightmare was over. Oh, that's very good. Activity on the IRC seemed to be back up again.
This kind of unsettling game is
the nightmare was over. Yeah, that's very good.
Go on.
I quickly shared my tales with the rest of the SMWC and typed this documentation of it. If you feel daring enough, you too can witness my tale firsthand. Remember, guys, it's only a hack. It can't hurt you. Or can it?
Okay, so there is something that I actually really, really like, and it's not really anything to do
Most of
with
it.
well, and it's not anything to do with all the setup. It was that so that line in there that I believe Mario was atoning for his actions, eventually being plummeted into a hell that looked exactly like Yoshi's Island. Just the visual image of Mario plummeting into something draws parallels to Mario abandoning Yoshi into a pit.
Yeah,
And
that's really interesting.
good.
Yeah.
For that, I'm really cool with this. Everything else is just all right.
I mean, there's a nugget of interest here.
Yeah.
I think there's some cool things that they do. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Matt.
No, I thought it was cool. While you were reading that, I found a binary translator, and it is indeed that binary translates to Notepad.
Notepad.
Yeah. That's cool.
So I will say one thing that the audio format, obviously doesn't allow for these stories is a lot of these creepypastas have really good visual accompaniment, right? So whether it was done intentionally or like we talked about before, fans do it afterward, people will often make hacks that emulate all of these things. So someone
Match the creepypasta.
exactly.
Yeah.
So we've got a ROM hacker here, and that's really what seals the deal is the images. And when I watched this on YouTube and there was a video right of the gameplay, and I think there's some cool things. I think seeing the message boxes and seeing it subvert that way is always interesting. I think it's the little things like when you see really small text that's not justified or that's kind of off center. Again, that's not I'm not gonna shit my pants, but it's a little unsettling, right? It's what's the word? It's not what you would imagine.
It's eerie.
Right? It's disassociative is what I was trying to say. Yeah.
I like the images that go with it. I like the idea of the text boxes and the different titles telling the story. It's just kind of the extra commentary from the author is
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's unneeded. It's just let your images and your ROM hack speak for themselves, guy.
Yeah. I definitely did paraphrase a lot of that, but I wanted to get some of that good color in there.
Yeah.
But I definitely recommend. I mean, if anyone out there interested in creepypastas, there's a huge community. There's a lot of good YouTube channels.
Yeah.
What were we gonna say, Matt?
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, speaking of images, what is this like nightmare hellscape picture that you posted?
Yeah, that's terrible.
So that's kind of that's in the section called the aftermath. The aftermath. So I way back at the beginning, I mentioned there was a TXT file. So I guess the story is the guy tries to convert the TXT file back into a JPEG, and most of the result was not viewable except for this little like whatever the fuck. It kind of looks like Gygus, like from the end of Earthbound.
It does.
It definitely has like big Gygus vibes, but it's like it kind of looks like a face, but it's really pixelated, really low res.
The moon from Majora's Mask
Ooh,
was what
yeah.
I picked up on, but
Yeah.
It's cool. We'll upload it. Hopefully I can get a higher res image. We'll upload it to the images. I would imagine it'll probably be the episode image, if not.
Yeah, it's real terrible.
Yeah.
If not something silly, Todd finds.
If not something silly.
Matt, will you do some research after we finish and see if like a recreation of this is uploaded anywhere on like Super Mario Maker?
Oh,
yeah. I'll see if I can track
nice.
it down.
Because that
be very
seems
cool.
like something someone would have done.
Yeah.
Should have done. And if it's not, then we can do it. And everyone will find out about our podcast through the connection to this weird creepypasta that everyone knows about, right? This is
Yeah.
so
Super the
popular.
most popular thing ever, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Any other closing thoughts?
No.
Fantastic. I don't think I could sum up October better than Spencer. Cool. All right. Well, thanks everybody for listening to Debate This. Please follow along with the arguments on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at DebateThisCast. Check out our website at debatethiscast.com. If you like what you hear, please leave us a review. More people can hear all of this absolute nonsense. So, Spooktacular Express, it's a rollin', baby. Next
Train
week,
kept it rolling all night
train
long.
kept it rolling. Insert more train sounds here. Next week, Spooktacular Express is making a stop at Matt's favorite station, Ghost Rider.
Yeah, Ghost Rider!
Yeah.
Finally.
It's finally happening. We're gonna talk a little bit about Ghost Rider and Mario Kart.
Two things that I love very much.
It goes really well.
Yeah.
The answer may surprise you.
We're hoping after we do this episode, Matt stops bugging us about Ghost Rider for a few weeks.
For at least a few weeks, yeah.
Hopefully a few weeks. God, I mean, he gets a reference in there. It's like a bell. It's every time.
What does that mean?
I don't know. It made sense in my head. I'm very tired.
Is it like were you going with like a Pavlov thing? Like,
Yeah, totally. That's
Okay.
it.
No,
All right,
don't throw in the life preserver.
So after that amazing
Todd,
reference,
Todd, we dump on Andrew a lot. I think I just wanted to help him.
Everybody gets one.
I
Thanks,
feel
Kyle.
so bad for him.
All right. With that, until next time, I'm Andrew Henderson.
I'm Matt Pavlov's Ghost Rider Cole.
I'm Todd Poochie Carrot Thomas.
Todd took the good one.
Suck it.
I'm Kyle
Spud's Adventure.
Notepad. Kyle Notepad Harper.
We're saying thanks for debating with us, and if you think we're wrong, you can come fight us behind the swing sets, nerds.
But like spooky swing sets.
The spooky, scary swing sets.
They creak in the wind.
They also have a ROM hack.